Alright, so a bunch of you wanted me to make this video, and so I'm making it. And this video is gonna be probably a long one because it's a ad hoc one, and this is like I don't have a script or anything, and I'm just gonna talk. And it's gonna be about the protests that are happening in Serbia and my explanation, and I'm gonna try to explain everything that's happening right now, but I'm also going to do like a kind of a call to action, and at some point I will explain exactly what I mean by that. But a bunch of content creators asked me what's happening, a bunch of friends asked me, a bunch of people that are following both of my channels asked me what's happening. But so basically what's happening is that it's been happening for 13 years now. In 2012, when Aleksandar Vučić, or the president of Serbia, came to power, he basically started like an autocracy, or something that you can describe as a authoritarian regime. So with that, he controls all the media, he controls basically everything that's happening in the country, and he is not responsible, like he's not going to be responsible for anything, but he controls everything, like everything that happens, and he knows everything, and he's the main guy that like whatever happens and if there's a question, he's the guy that's going to answer it, whether it's like I don't know, the prices of strawberries, or if it's like some critical questions when it comes to like governing the country. He just appears on the television, and he is the one that has all the information, and he is the one that like does all the deals and everything. So like obviously you understand that that's not normal, right? On top of that, most of you may not know, I'm a musician, and I've been a music producer for most of my life. And the reason why I started doing YouTube is because I couldn't do music in Serbia anymore. The reason is because I was loud, and I was against this regime since 2012. And in 2014, there were blacklists, and I just got banned off the radio and off the TV. Like up until that point in 2014, I had quite a few hit singles of my own and of like people that I produced. But suddenly nobody wanted to play me, and a bit later, I heard from a radio host that there was like a blacklist and my name was there. And like, I was like, dude, but I'm doing like music that is not like revolutionary. It's not just like it's not Rage Against the Machine. I'm doing like love songs. Like, why ban me? Because of my Facebook posts, because of my Twitter posts, etc., and or because of some things that I said on TV and radio back then. So that's basically when my music career stopped. I had a bunch of clients that just like they were scared to have my surname or my like signature on their tracks, so like they just didn't want to come to my studio to record anything or for me to produce a song for them because yeah, they were scared. Like there's no way around it. Like, if you have my name on it, you might not get played on the radio. And obviously it goes deeper than that, but like, I'm not the only one. There's a bunch of people that had the same problems, and at some point I just realized that it doesn't even make sense anymore. I'm not making any money. I lost a lot of money. I'm just gonna start doing YouTube and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing YouTube. But that's not the only way that they destroyed the music industry in Serbia. They also destroyed it by basically banning people from certain clubs, certain kinds of musicians that play certain kind of music from certain clubs, so they can get their own people into those clubs, so they can play their own music, and that music is very it just glorifies drugs and guns. And some of that music is obviously going to be like nationalistic or Nazi. But yeah, so like that's me telling you what happened from a perspective of a musician, right? But from a perspective of a citizen of Serbia, it was like much worse. Like, we had a bunch of affairs, including that the ministers, or the father of the Minister of Defense, was selling guns to terrorists in, I think it was Azerbaijan or something like that. I honestly forgot. I might put like some things on the screen, and you might see what I'm talking about. But that was that affair. There was an affair where they wanted to like make a photo with a baby that they saved. So they like got a helicopter to pick up the baby that was sick, and because it was foggy and like it was not like nobody wanted to fly, but there was one guy that wanted to fly. He was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna fly. And he was like whatchamacallit, a military pilot, and helicopter obviously fucking crashed. Everybody died. I think there was like 14 deaths. And even before the pictures, there was like a headline, not in the newspapers, but on their website, which they took down like promptly, that said that the baby was saved, and the Minister of Health and the Minister of Defense, they were there to save the baby, etc., etc. But like it was like on the internet as the helicopter was crashing, so they removed it, and like, and then afterwards they were trying to like split the blame, or like get it towards somebody else, and then they accused the pilot of being drunk, and like it's just like it just goes on and on. Like the minister of what would you call that? The minister of police? I don't know. He was implied in a huge weed growing farm. Like I'm not even making this shit up. Obviously, weeds like drugs and stuff like that are not legalized in Serbia, and etc. etc. So what happened 4 months ago was that there was like a building in Novi Sad, which is to the north of Belgrade, where I reside, and there was a canopy on a train station that fell and killed 15 people. So the canopy was the thing that, or the canopy falling down and killing 15 people was the thing that sparked the protests in Serbia. But also bear in mind that the same canopy and the whole building were renovated just like a couple of months ago. They were open to the public by the president and the premier, what we call him, premier, prime minister. So yeah, just like a couple of months after that, the fucking canopy falls down, kills 15 people. So that is what sparked these protests. There were protests before. In 2016, in the capital, or in my city, there was like a teardown of a whole block of buildings where some people resided. There were some clubs in some of them, and I know of a bunch of musicians that had like their like studios over there. And all of that got flattened so they can make Belgrade on Water, which is a huge project that was done with the Saudis, with Saudi Arabia and China, and a bunch of criminals that most people don't even understand. And it's not something that people talk about here in Serbia, because those criminals are still at large and they can do nasty shit to you. But yeah, so it was illegal. It was done during like an election night while everybody was at their like watching the TV and seeing what's going to happen. And also one person died. He was like a security officer over there, and he was old and he had a heart attack. And that was done illegally by a group of criminals that some of them were shot and killed afterwards. Some of them are still at large. Some of them are in prison right now for other things, for other reasons. Obviously, those dots were never connected, but like we the people here know, because it's like Serbia has what, almost like 7 million people. Belgrade has 2 million people, so it's basically a fucking village, right? Like we talk to each other. We know what's happening. Naturally, after that, there were like huge protests because like who the fuck tears down a whole block in the middle of the night? And people were calling the police, but the police just didn't respond. They had like somebody told them not to respond, right? So those were the protests that happened in 2016, and then you had the protests in 2017 that I led, and those happened because Vučić didn't want to be a prime minister anymore, and then he just decided to like step up and be a fucking president, and he had, or they held an election, and all of the elections are like rigged here. People are getting paid to vote. They're like I don't know what you call them, but like people are getting paid to call other people that are also gonna get paid to vote for somebody, and they like get a fucking picture of their IDs right next to the ballots, and yeah, like that's how you get paid. Hey, Grumpy the editor here. So during the inauguration of President Vucic, god damn it, like English and Serbian at the same time, it's just fucking weird. But during that, there were like not really riots, but because the security that was not police, but it was just like some people that looked like criminals because they were criminals that were securing the whole place. They beat up on some of my friends and choked them and all of that. And after they got caught for something else and they got like imprisoned for something completely else a couple of years later, I was the one that connected the dots that said that those are the same guys and those are the same guys that were like hired to kill people for this government, etc., and that it's really weird that they're getting in prison right now, and there must be a reason, and probably there is a bigger fish. And like you can see the article probably on the screen right now. It's in Serbian because I don't think it ever got translated. But yeah, so this is the kind of people we're talking about. So anyway, those were 2017 protests. In 2018 protests, I was again leading those, or one of the leaders of those. And this time we did it with the opposition, and we were trying to like balance being, I don't know, normal and working with fucking opposition. But bear in mind, those opposition leaders are, I'm not gonna say like completely the same, but they are not good, like not good people. That's all that I can tell you, and that's why I never went into politics. And so anyway, those were like 2018 protests, and we had. Also, by the way, why those happened was because there was an assassination of an opposition leader in Kosovo that was obviously done by our hands, like the Serbians, even though they blamed the Albanians. And there was an attempt on a life of another opposition leader, Borko Stefanovic, here in Serbia. He's a Serbian opposition leader. And they like roughed him up with pipes, and he was like bloody and all that. So like that's what happened. The guy from Kosovo, his name was Oliver Ivanovic. So those were the 2018 protests, and after that you had a bunch of them again. Like I'm not gonna go into all of them, but you have like 2020 because of the pandemic and how they manage the whole situation. There was some fights on the streets. Like all of these protests that I've talked about up until now were completely like civilized is like an understatement. Like peaceful, and like the streets were cleaner after the protests than they were before the protests, right? Because we would clean them after ourselves. So then 2020 happens. There was some fights over there. In the end, they like listened to our demands, and it was fine. It wasn't fucking fine. For the whole of 2020, they wanted to give us like $30, basically fucking $30 for us, the musicians, that like couldn't fucking work for a year. We couldn't. Their musicians could, but we could not, right? Obviously. And then, obviously, afterwards, you had more protests. One of the biggest ones was, I think it was 2023, I'm not sure, when there was a mass shooting in a school in Belgrade, and simultaneously in a town close to Belgrade. All right, so Grumpy, the editor here, I just forgot to say one thing. I just need you to understand the modus operandi of these guys, like the government. So when I was leading those protests in 2018, I had people parked outside my door for almost a year. My phone was tapped. I'm pretty sure that my phone is tapped again because it's just losing battery. There are ways to just listen to your microphone even without like calling you, even without you making a call. So yeah, they do that shit. They scare people. Scare tactics always work, I guess, with most people. It didn't work with me and the people that I worked on the protests, right? But a bunch of people got scared. My dad's people from the firm where he's working told him for me not to expose myself that much because he might get fired because of that. Because people are getting fired because they're whistleblowers or they're like trying to get people to protests or whatever. But yeah, people lose their jobs, people lose their lives, people get beaten up, etc., etc. So this is, I just want to paint you a picture of how this government operates and why I'm calling them an autocratic regime or basically a fucking dictatorship, right? And obviously, on the government's controlled media, I was called a traitor, somebody that was trying to destroy the country. And I was a drug addict, and I was a suicidal maniac, but like kind of a person with psychological disorders, right? Or whatever. And obviously I'm not that, but yeah, that's basically how they operate. And they just take some things that you said at some point in your life out of context, and they make a story out of it, and they make you look really bad, so the people start hating you, right? But anyway, and yeah, now we have got to this point where it all seems like this is the end, and this is what we were fighting for fucking 12 years, 13 years. If I start crying at some point, I'm sorry about that. I'm not gonna fucking edit it out, because that's like, honestly, they destroyed my life. I wish them all the worst. I'm not an aggressive guy, and I'm all about a peaceful protest, but I don't think that this is gonna end well for them and for us. So now what happens? Canopy fell down on the people, right? And the whole fucking shit hit the fan. And the students were the ones, like students from all around Serbia and from all the schools and from all the universities. They just said, okay, enough is enough. Now, before, when I was leading the protests, we were trying to get in touch with the students, and that was not the same generation. And those students were controlled in a way by the leading party, so we couldn't really do anything with them. Like, we could get some of them there, but not the whole university, right? And we tried in plenty of ways. It doesn't matter. Like, it's super fucking complex, and I'm trying to like not talk way too long. So now it's a new generation, and these kids are fucking amazing, and they're like, yeah, we fucking had enough, right? So 2025, you saw the videos of the protests, right? And it was peaceful. Again, we had at least 500,000 people on the streets of Belgrade. And it's not just the streets of Belgrade. Like, the protests are like happening for 4 fucking months. The kids are not going to school. The kids are not going to their faculties and their like to get their fucking degrees. They are basically blockading the university. They're blockading their schools and shit. Excuse me, I had to pause it for a second. So now we're where we're at right now. We had like at least 500,000 people in Belgrade, just in Belgrade. Those protests were held for like 4 months, and these kids only want justice and the rules to apply to everyone the same. Right? And that is not too much to ask for. That is basically what we asked for back in 2018 and 2019 and 2017, the protests that I led. And basically every protest that happened, it was just about that. Because in Serbia, if you were a part of that party, of the leading party, everything is fucking allowed to you. You can crash into a family and kill the whole fucking family with your car, and nothing is gonna happen to you because you're in the party, right? It happens. Like, I'm not making this shit up. Like, I can't fucking make this shit up. So the protests were held not only in Belgrade but in other cities. They tried to the one that you probably saw. They tried to like block it in a bunch of ways. They like didn't let people use the buses, etc., etc. They were closing some streets and shit like that. But still, we had a huge fucking protest. As I've said, at least 500,000. The police said 100,000, which is obviously fucking bullshit because during my protests that they said like 30,000, and it was the military, because we were in contact with some of the military personnel, and they said that like they counted in a way like at least 65,000 people. There's a way to do it. You probably know about that already. So during those protests, and with every protest that was bigger, there was like a 15 minutes of silence that was held by all the protesters at the same time because of the 15 people that died under that canopy, right? And this time in Belgrade, during that like 15 minutes of mourning, somebody used what we think is an Lrad system, or some people will call it a sound cannon. It was something of that sort. We are still unsure what it is. And that made like people just started panicking, and a stampede happened, and a bunch of people got hurt. A bunch of people had issues with their hearing afterwards, and like it's not good, right? It's not just like, oh, people got scared and that's it. No, it's literally not good. And I'm not in the team of people that are trying to figure it out, but I am talking with a bunch of teams that are trying to figure out what happened, right? And I went on a TV station in Serbia that is the only opposing TV station, because everything else is under the government's influence and everything is controlled by the government. This one isn't, because it doesn't matter, reasons. So I told them that, like, I stated why I believe that they used some kind of an Lrad system. And here's the deal. We heard that they have gotten an Lrad system from the Israelis, I think, back in 2022 or 2021. There was like a news article, but that was not like, since there's like no laws and it's against the law to use the Lrad system, it was just like dismissed and like whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. But we thought, and we were sure that they got it. And it sounded like something that an Lrad, or a long-range acoustical device, could produce, because it can play MP3s and it can play like pre-recorded sounds, right? So that's why I thought it was an Lrad. And I went onto the news station and I said that I'm pretty sure that it's an Lrad. And I gave some like my professional, it's not fucking professional because I'm a music producer, right? I don't really know everything about like the modern fucking military stuff, but in police stuff, but I've heard about that even before 2021, and I know because it's like it has something to do with sound and acoustics and all of that, so I gave them my opinion. At the same time, the president said that everybody that fucking spreads any rumors about the use of Lrad that we do not have is going to get arrested. So I said, fuck it. Fucking arrest me, right? This is my opinion. I think that you use an Lrad system. I'm pretty sure that you have one, but I don't know. But like, it just sounds logical to me. If it's not Lrad, tell me what it is. Because if it looks like shit, if it smells like shit, if you know that we have shit here, or if you assume that we have shit here, then it's probably shit. It's not going to be an apple. I'm not going to eat it, right? So if it's not shit, or if it's not an Lrad, then like, tell me what it is. Please do your fucking job and tell us what produced panic on the streets of Belgrade during the protests on 15th March of this year. But at that point, they were still saying that they don't have it, and everybody that says otherwise is going to get arrested. And I was like, yeah, shit, fuck it, arrest me. I'll go to jail. I don't fucking care. And then one of the police officers spread a rumor that we have them. Some people found like some orders, and then they said, well, yeah, we have like 16 of these portable ones, but they're still we never unboxed them because it's against the law to use them. And then a day later, or yesterday night, one of the riot police officers said that every unit has at least 2 mounted on their Jeeps. And then this morning, people were looking at like all the photos and all the videos, and they saw that, in fact, there was an Lrad mounted on a fucking Jeep, on a Defender that was used by the riot police, right? So then, at that point, the Minister of Police came out and said, well, yeah, well, I mean, we have these, but we never use them, and like it's just basically a megaphone. We would just use them to disperse people, to tell them to like disperse, and that's it. So, on the other hand, the president said, if you can prove that we have used an Lrad on the protesters, then I will just resign. Here's my 2-part call to action kind of a thing. Since we know that EU, or European Union, is not going to help us at all, because for years, for a decade, more than a decade, they were deeply concerned. And like it just fucking became a meme. Everybody's just laughing at like whenever something happens here, and whenever you would think that Serbia has to get, or like the Serbian government has to get like some sanctions and shit, they are just deeply concerned, and it's just like that's the end of it, right? So since they're not going to help, and I'm not going to like go into why I think they're not helping, there is a reason, believe me, but if I say that, there's probably going to be a clash of opinions and all of that, and I really don't want that. But since we know that they're not gonna sanction the government, since we know that they're not gonna like do a Interpol fucking arrest warrant for any over like officials, this is what you guys can do to help us out. I'm not going to ask you to go out and protest. I'm not going to ask you because, like, it's just way too fucking much to ask for, right? It's not your country. It's not your fucking problem, right? So what you could do is share this video with people that you know that served and that you know that had some experience with the said Lrad system. Second part is I would love to interview at least one of you guys. It can be a short video call where you can just explain to me, like, firstly, obviously, give me your credentials and all of that, and then tell me what's your experience with the Lrad system, how it works, how like low can it get, what effects does it have on the crowd, and in the end, where you used it, or if you used it, or if you tried it on yourself. Because I've seen some comments of people that said that they served in the Afghanistan, in the Marine Corps, and that they had an Lrad system, like an array of Lrad systems on a couple of vehicles, and they tried it on themselves. And I'm trying to get in touch with those guys, but those guys are just like, whatever. But if you could help me get in touch with somebody that use this and that has some experience that can like shed a light on this whole thing, that would be fucking phenomenal. There is no like prize for that except like thank you, and that might help overthrow a government, authoritarian dictator in the Balkans. If not, we're just going to continue doing the same shit that we did, and we're going to protest, and we're going to protest. And at some point, somebody is going to get aggressive. People are already very fucking pissed off, and there's going to be violence. And, yeah. So, I don't want it to happen. I honestly want them to burn in hell forever and ever. I want it to go to fucking prison and never fucking leave the prison. But to get to that point, there are two ways. One is very peaceful and democratic. And the second one is not so peaceful and democratic. And even though they ruined my whole life, and that they ruined my career, that they ruined just mine, like, dude, like, so the thing that I never said in the video, these are the same people from the 90s. Like, we had a Slobodan Milosevic that was like the dictator from the 90s. He went to jail. He went to Hague. And these guys were like ministers of whatnot during that, like, his regime. And then they stepped down. We had like democracy for 10 years or 12 years. And then these guys just came back and just continued where they left off. And not only that, I lost like the best part of my life to these people. I lost my childhood because of these people. These people, the president of our country was saying, like in Bosnia, for every Serb during the war, for every Serb that is killed by the Bosnians, we will kill 100 more Muslims. Like, that's the type of people that we're talking about, right? So if you could help in any way, I'm not asking for money. I don't need money. Even for this video, if it somehow fucking blows up, I'm probably gonna give the money to charity or to the kids or to the students that are protesting. But yeah, if you could help, that would be awesome. But yeah, that's it. That's the shortest video that I can make on this topic, and explain everything that's happening and ask you to help out. We don't need money. We don't, like, I myself don't need any money. Like, I do, but I don't want to make it this way. So yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.